Today on CityCast Houston, we're in that perfect sweet spot of Houston weather where it's actually nice to be outside. So we're finding out the best patios to hang out on before it gets too hot. Houstonia magazine's editor-in-chief, Emma Balter, is here to drop some gems on the best patios for food, drinks, and vibes. It's Wednesday, May 8th. I'm Raheel Ramzanali, and here's what Houston's talking about. Emma, welcome back into CityCast Houston. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. The weather is nice outside, so we are talking some patios. Before we jump into that conversation, what is your favorite thing about spring? It could be a meal, it could be a restaurant, anything. What is your spring thing?
Oh, that's a great question. I will admit, I used to be a huge summer lover before I moved to Houston, and then I immediately understood why people gripe about it so much here. When spring comes around, I really feel like I love that kind of crispness in the air, and I love that I'm able to kind of go on long walks without being immediately drenched in sweat. So I try and kind of get out and do walks around my neighborhood a lot and, in various parks in Houston before I can no longer do that until like October.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Golden hour just hits so much better during spring. It just feels so nice outside. The sunsets are more intense. It's great.
Yeah, totally.
All right, let's talk about some patios. Before we get your recommendations, lay out for me what makes a good patio for you.
Ooh, great question. Okay, so I love a patio where there's a lot of expansive space. I feel like the point of being outside is, you have kind of room to go around. You're not, crowded in a tight space with a lot of people. I also love, obviously great drinks. Some patios kind of differ in what they're offering. So some of them might have like really good cocktails, and some of them, maybe the cocktails are not so great and you should just get a beer and that's fine. But yeah, I'd say chill vibes where I can kind of, have a conversation with my friends without shouting.
I'm so glad you said that space thing, because there's some restaurants that do patios and the food is great. The drinks are great. The people are great. The atmosphere is fantastic, but it's so cramped that it just doesn't feel right. And it's kind of annoying sitting outside. So I'm glad you brought that up. I like space as well. And the other thing I like is a good breeze. Like when you're on the patio, and whether it be natural or manufactured with a fan, but a good breeze right now in Houston is perfect because it does get a little toasty, but that breeze calms it down. So give me a good spot that's really chill. You got a good breeze. I can eat some good food. Where should I go?
Okay, so my top recommendation, honestly, generally in Houston is West Alabama Ice House in Montrose. So for those who don't know, this is a real ice house. Like it used to be, one of those businesses that sold ice before the days of refrigeration. And it's been around since the 1920s, and it has not really changed all that much since. It still kind of looks like a shack. But it's just really good chill vibes, big patio. I always get a Salty Lady beer when I'm there. And they have great fans with misters, which to your point is very important.
Yes, those fans are so big and plenty of space. And you're right. It just gives you that old school vibe, right? That, like this is something from the yesteryears.
Exactly. Very, very Texas for sure.
All right. Speaking of good drinks, give me a patio where I can go and have drinks with friends and it's just going to be perfect.
So drinks with friends, I have two different answers for you because it kind of depends who you are and, what your crowd is. So if you are in your 20s, Truck Yard is for you in the East Downtown area. It kind of is like Ice House meets Junkyard. There's a lot of really interesting things to look at in that space. And you can grab your friends and sit around the bed of a converted pickup truck and just drink your Friggers and margaritas. And it's a really fun time, but maybe kind of for a younger crowd. If you are north of 30 and up, I would recommend Heights & Co. It's a very sensible place where you can have a conversation with your friends. They have really great cocktails. I love the salted watermelon cocktail specifically, and they have really kind of good bar bites as well. And you can bring your dog.
Okay, speaking of good conversation, I've seen this meme across social media about the dad who always Friday nights will like have topics for conversation. Do you do that before you go out for drinks with friends?
Oh my gosh, I know exactly who you mean. And it's so funny and is so wholesome. And you know what?
Yes.
I do not have an agenda when I go out to friends, but I'm a Virgo rising and that kind of fits into my personality. So maybe I should start doing
It's so
that.
good. Like just seeing this wholesome dad go, okay, next we're going to discuss Kendrick Lamar versus Drake. Who won the rap beef?
Oh, let's not even go there. That's a long conversation.
Yes. All right, let's talk about family friendly spots. A place where we can bring the kids out to. They've got space. We don't have to worry about them too much. What do you got for me?
Yeah. So I would say my top recommendation would be Dalba in Oak Forest.
Mm.
And the patio is really nice, but specifically they have this mini playground with a little slide, and it's very, very geared towards children and families. So I think it kind of automatically wins in this category
Oh,
just for the
love that.
slide. Yeah.
And how's the food there?
The food is great. Yeah, it's from a team that has a lot of experience in restaurants in Houston. So it's definitely one of those places where the food is also great. Yeah.
I'm asking about the food like my kids will actually eat something off the menu and not just, nuggies and fries. So I don't even know why I asked that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about a patio with a nice vibe. I know that's open ended, but this could be whether it comes down to music, ambiance in general. Give me a good patio with a nice vibe.
Okay, so the vibes are always impeccable at Axelrad Beer Garden, which
Mm.
actually I've never been during the day, but I've heard during the day it's very family friendly. In the evening, they always have live music sets. I think pretty much every weekend, Friday, Saturday, with different genres of music. So there's really something for everyone. They have this really, really large patio. There's hammocks and kind of these swing chairs everywhere and picnic tables. And it's always a great collection of people. And I just always have a really fantastic time there.
That's a cool place for sure. Okay, it's date night. We want to go to a patio. I want something a little bit fancier. We don't want to go to the steakhouse just yet. Where can I go?
Okay, so I think a good spot is Backstreet Cafe and its patio. So Backstreet Cafe, it's one of Hugo Ortega's restaurants, and it's in this kind of old 1930s like converted bungalow. So it's just a really charming atmosphere. The patio is very kind of intimate, and you have kind of walls above you, and it just feels very
Mm.
kind of cozy. And also, fun fact: the owners, so Hugo and his wife Tracy, actually met at Backstreet Cafe,
Oh,
and
wow.
that's where they fell in love. And so I just kind of feel like it's a very romantic restaurant in general.
That's a good place to go. Definitely if you're dating somebody and you're like, "Hey, this could be the one," that's where we're going, right? Because you could fall in love there as well.
Yeah, and I think they see a lot of engagements as well there, if I'm
Oh,
not
nice.
mistaken. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mhm.
All right, give me a patio that screams it's spring. This could be
Mhm.
nature related, it could be decorations. It's up to you, but something that screams it's spring.
Yeah, so I think I would go with tiny boxwoods, mostly because it's probably the most kind of picturesque patio. The patio is actually a garden. It's very, very expensive, and it's always super kind of well manicured, and there's always a tons of flowers and plants, and these have cabanas. And yeah, I feel like that kind of vibe really, when everything is blooming and smelling good, I feel like that's where you want to be.
See, I hate that pick. Do you want to know why, Emma?
Yes, please tell me.
Because every time I go to Tiny Boxwoods, I'm like, I'm just gonna have one cookie. And guess how many I end up having, Emma?
At least five.
At least five. It's not good for my diet. It's not good for my sugar.
Oh,
I have a sweet tooth, so that's why I
yeah.
hate going there. It is so beautiful there. And the
Yeah,
service
yeah.
is so great all the time.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
But you know what, Emma? I can work off those cookies and all of that sugar by maybe playing a sport. It could be pickleball, it could be sand volleyball. There's so many bars and patios now that are attached to a sports related field or venue or court. What's your favorite? And this could be any sport and any patio.
Yeah. So a classic that I like to go to is Wakefield Crowbar in Garden Oaks. So
Yeah.
They have a volleyball court, basically kind of in the middle of the patio, and it's just pretty fun. I mean, you can play. I do not play. I watch, so you can kind of sit around on the patio and watch people play volleyball. There's like actual sand, and it's kind of a good time. Another one that I would also mention is Net Bar, just off Washington Avenue, and they basically have a bunch of kind of lawn games, and they have leagues, I think, that play there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, yeah, mostly outdoors and very chill as well.
Yeah, I love Wakefield Crowbar because you have leagues there. You can just go to open play. It feels like you're at the beach because the sand is so soft and cold drinks are right there. And then everyone's probably wondering, ew, what about all the sand, right? Because that is one of the drawbacks of going playing sand volleyball. They've got a little cleaning section for people so you can just wash down. You're ready to go. You can head inside or stay on the patio. It is nice and cool the entire time.
Yeah, totally.
One of the cool things about Houston right now, and I think up until it gets really cold, is the hookah bars around the city, and people will just be there all night. What's your favorite place? Do you have a recommendation for a good hookah bar?
Yeah, so there's this place called Patio Bella Pasha, and it's really a whole vibe. It's a beautiful space. They have two large patio areas, and they serve Middle Eastern cuisine. So, and I mean, just, all the hummus and baba ganoush, lots of really fresh salads and meze, and it's kind of somewhere that you can have a whole meal as well there. So that's kind of where I would recommend.
Nice. I love that one. Okay, final one, Emma. Are you ready for this one?
Yes.
It's Friday. It's 5 p.m. You've had a long week of editing and writing, and you are stressed out, and you're like, I'm done with everyone. I just need to go and relax. Where is Emma's place for a Friday?
Oh, man. I try and switch it up, but I would say that somewhere that I have kind of liked going recently is Catbirds on the Westheimer Strip. So it was recently bought by a new owner who really didn't do all that much to change it, which I kind of love. Like, everyone was like, oh, he's going to make it so fancy, but he really was just like, nope. And the happy hour is super, super cheap. And it's, good vibes. There's a pool table. And there's a tiny little kind of, is it a patio? I'm not sure. It's a small area on the side where you can sit outside. And I'd say that's a good place to, with a good happy hour.
I love that. That's Emma's pick. And thank you so much, Emma, for all of your recommendations. It's going to be great to see everyone out there. This is a time to enjoy all of the great patios. And it's going to be fun, again, to go out there, relax, enjoy the weather, enjoy it before it gets a little too hot. So I appreciate you joining us and giving us all these great picks.
Thank you. It was great to be here.
That was Emma Balter. You can find even more recommendations from her with the link in our show notes. So tell me, where is your favorite patio around Houston? Send it to me with our contact info in the show notes. That will do it for today. Thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something new. Send it to me via